Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. And boy, oh boy, do we have a special podcast for you guys today. So, as always, I am being joined by Perry.
Oh, this is gonna get good.
Lenny.
Hello, everyone.
And Jalen.
If you're listening to this podcast, chances are you didn't spend your weekend the right way.
God bless you.
Or you're spending it in the best way.
Exactly. Listening to us talk about how stupid the internet has been lately. Well, stupider than usual.
Shit.
Yes, there is. So,
Adolfo, are you alluding that this episode is special than the other episodes?
it's special where you might lose a couple of IQ points because of the stories we're going to talk about right now. But thank you for spending your Memorial Day with us. We hope you're enjoying that steak and whatever you're eating, because it's probably going up tomorrow instead of tonight. But let's go ahead and get started with let's get started with Lenny's story.
Okay. So, Fable 4. Oh. I'm joking. Alright, so there's been a lot of talk lately about the state of YouTube, especially in regards to things like copyright strikes, DMCA takedowns, and in some cases, you know, this isn't necessarily a 100% proven thing, but it's a personal position of mine that there is favoritism towards like media corporations and various other companies that either present ads or media within Hollywood and television, and that they get a special treatment on YouTube, mainly in regards to the automated copyright system. Because if you or I make a video and somebody re-uploads it, we're not alerted to this fact, and it's not taken down. We have to basically be aware of it, find it, and alert them to it ourselves.
Right.
However, if you are Fox or any other of the big ones, I'm trying to remember, I can't think of the other ones, but this story relates to Fox. So if you're like Fox or Universal or any of the other big companies, all of your content is, as far as you know, when they send it, automatically put up on there. So even if they have no idea who you are, what you do, it gets a strike, it gets taken down, you know, and that was a big thing. This all started with Viacom with a lawsuit back then. And so what it happens is they get preferential treatment because everything that could possibly be a potential thing against them, criticism or taking away parts of their money or anything at all, as a perceived threat, YouTube takes care of it. Whatever. We have to deal with it, and we're fighting for it. You know, there's FUPA was announced recently, the Fair Use Protection Act or Association, I forget. That's a whole nother story. More to the point, it's supposed to be getting better. And yet, we had this very fascinating story recently where Family Guy had an episode in which one of the characters was using a cheat code or exploit on an NES game called Double Dribble. But they didn't get it themselves. They used a YouTube video that a person had made, which is exactly that, showing how to use the automatic three-point shot exploit. Now, we have no idea, as far as we know, if they asked this guy for permission or if they paid him to use this content or anything like that. They might have, they may not have. Regardless, it's still within the confines of fair use because it's using it for the sake of a joke or parody or whatever. Right. So we're not saying that they're unjust in using it, but as far as we know, there was no permission or compensation for it regardless. So they make the episode, it airs, and within a few hours of it uploading, Fox is like, oh, make sure nobody puts the full episode up on YouTube, so we're going to send it to YouTube, and they put it on their servers. And lo and behold, the segment where they feature the footage, since they just took it from this guy on his YouTube channel, is exactly the same. So YouTube says, this guy stole some footage from Family Guy. And they fucking took it down. This guy got a motherfucking copyright strike for his own content being stolen by someone else. He's being punished for stealing his own content.
That's some old bullshit.
You know how ass backwards that is in every fucking sense of the word.
Yeah. It's kind of...
I need to calm down. You guys say something, please.
This kind of supports the theory that there's really nobody at the controls for this. Like, it just fucking does it. They just let the automated system do its own damn thing, you know, and sometimes they get to the copyright claims and sometimes they don't.
It's a monster that can't be stopped.
Yeah, it's just dumb. Like, this whole copyright system is just stupid. Yeah, but I hope this guy gets everything figured out and gets that copyright strike taken off, because that is...
Well, yeah, see, that's the cool thing. The cool thing is, Fox took it off as soon as they were alerted to it, and they were saying we didn't want to do this. Which, that could be one of two things. That's either they genuinely meant that, or they're trying to save face. Right. The point is, there's no strike. But the more to the issue is the fact that if we're going to like compare this, just because of the sake that we have certain mediums that have preference over others, the Family Guy episode, that wasn't taken down once they showed that part. Like, when it aired, it's not that it was taken down and not being able to be viewed. It's not that DVDs of it were taken off the shelf. It's not that Fox was unable to make money off of all their DVDs and sales, or when they stream it on, you know, Netflix or like on-demand services or whatever. They didn't have that taken away from them, but this guy did for doing it functionally nothing, even though they used his thing. It's like, oh, well, we can use your media whenever you want. You have no way to punish us outside of a genuine lawsuit, but we have an automated system to knock down all you little people. And even if they took it back, it still shows that there had to be sort of outcry or outrage for them to do this. Like, and this is even true on my end. The Skyline review that I had, the person who I'm dealing with has either completely forgotten that I exist, or they intentionally know that nothing is wrong with my video, and so they're waiting the 30 to 60 day waiting period for an appeals process.
Right.
Mm.
They're just waiting out the timer because they're like, oh, well, if I'm not going to win, I'm just going to make sure that any views you get are, like, not counted towards you, like, financially or anything else. Like, we're just going to hold on to it as long as possible. Because if I can't win, I'm at least going to fuck you over.
Yeah.
And something that YMS talked about, in that the full process for a claim, unless they want to go and, like, provide, like, a full lawsuit towards you, means that they can just wait around for 90 days. It's just a waste of your time. And they can always reinstate it again later, manually, even after the automatic system is done. Because they have to take it off. They're in the control saying, oh, well, this is what we think about this. It's not someone at YouTube looking at it and using, you know, their thoughts and their logic to determine it. They're basically saying, is this person who wants all the money deciding that you should not have this? It would be the equivalent of, I don't know. Like, you guys know Uwe Boll, how he would, like, you know, get into boxing matches against people who say anything bad about his movies?
Yeah.
It would be like the idea of Uwe Boll being the one to decide whether or not someone should get medical treatment after he punched him in the face for saying something bad about his movie. Like, you should not be the one to determine this. That's not how it works.
Yeah. That is dumb. This copyright system has been a pain in a lot of, like, small time YouTubers' asses for a long time.
Yep.
And I just hope this actually gets taken care of, because we recently had to take down our Star Fox Zero playthrough because the person who claimed them said, "Nope, you guys can't appeal this. I don't want you to." So we had to take that down. Oh well.
Wait, did they reject both of your appeals?
They rejected all 6 of them.
Well, all 6.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because typically you get like 2 for them, and then they threaten to like sue you after that. And if they went to that point, then yeah, I'd obviously say back down. But that's just
yeah. But yeah, thing of the past. New playthroughs, new day. But yeah, this is bullshit. But Barry, what do you think?
Oh boy, you know, it's this kind of crap that it just made, like, even when I was doing videos on a regular basis and trying to do Let's Plays, I was scared of shit knowing that someone was going to try. And even when I asked permission to do a Let's Play and I never got a response back, it's like, well, I'm technically not doing anything illegal. I'm still doing commentary, and really I'm doing something that shows a little bit different from the game itself, which is me doing one-arm controls for it.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, it was no guarantee, and this is one of the reasons why I'm so hesitant to the idea of ever doing a Let's Play on my channel. Even then, it took a long time to convince me, and even to this day, I've still never completed a full Let's Play. So this is kind of a case of, this kind of reminds me of why is it I don't do really Let's Plays on a regular basis. It's not just because of time, it's because of corporations doing crap like this. And it's completely asinine as to why we have to basically be punished for how small we are when we have no power to basically make ourselves bigger.
Right.
Just for that reason and that reason alone.
Yeah, it's just like, I loved it when I watched it when I recently watched Ragnarok's video with regarding Kojima and PT, this conspiracy. And Guillermo del Toro just called the people above the bastards with the money. And I was like, yeah, pretty much. The whole system is run by the bastards with the money. And so it gets to a point where I'm kind of like, you know what? Screw you, Fox. This is not cool at all. And I mean, you guys pretty much summed up most, if not all, my opinions regarding this, so I'm just more or less adding filler text to this, and I just can't believe that we have to live in a system, or the system way now is that it's so ass backwards and corrupt that we're being punished for making our own original content that people steal and are punishing us for stealing.
Yeah.
Some shameful stuff.
That would be like a YouTube reaction person. I don't know, name anybody, and copyrighted striking the original content creator of said video. Only much more stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So,
like, you know what that would be like? Like, did you ever? Didn't you tell me that you wanted at some point to do like a Bayonetta or Bayonetta 2 playthrough on your channel?
I did.
That would be like you sending a DMCA to Nintendo if they ever put up an ad of Bayonetta. Because they were using the same things, or they were like, oh, you were playing the same game as my Let's Play. You're not allowed to use that.
Except for one major problem with that.
What?
I'm not stupid enough to sue Nintendo.
Yeah.
Because I know Nintendo would come after and knock my door down within 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to imagine they'd summon some guy in like a Yoshi costume to just come to your house and laugh at you.
Oh, I'd beat the shit out of them. if like this, Disney or Nintendo could come to my house and say, if Mario and Mickey Mouse came to my house and says, you're going to have to answer to all of our copyright suits. And I was like, fuck you, Mouse. Just beat the shit out of them against the wall and say, you can shove your money penis around all you want, but you're not going to tell me what to do.
Money penis, huh?
Yep. Giant fucking money penis.
Yeah, Jalen.
What's it made out of?
Of money.
Money, of course.
George Washington's, Harriet Tubman's, Hamilton's, Benjamin's.
It's made of Benjamin Franklin bills, and it shoots $100.
Oh.
Just comes quarters everywhere.
Well,
I bet the ladies at the establishment really like that.
But sir, I'm sorry. I'm really tired of these corporations just throwing their giant money penis around. No. It's just really annoying. And at this point, I'm just like, okay, I really hope this guy gets his stuff back, and this whole copyright suit and fair use business is taken care of. Hopefully, and I know this is not likely to happen, but within the year, just so that way we can move on and actually have some peace of mind whenever we go and make a Let's Play of something from now on for just YouTubers in general. And so that's pretty much more or less all I have to say on the matter. I'm just tired of them doing this. And hopefully, and this will be the best load of satisfaction for me, is that Nintendo will, not only just have a fair use system going in place that's actually, fair, but it actually installs a punishment system for people who make false claims or make unjustified claims. So anytime that Nintendo falsifies or unjustifiably claims something that's a playthrough that's transformative and actually fits within the laws of fair use, they're punished for it.
Well, see, that's
That'd
the
be
thing.
nice.
Like, despite what some people, like, you know, think about the idea of Let's Plays, the thing is, a Let's Play in and of itself is transformative because it does not replace or infringe upon the experience of the original product. Because when I sit and watch somebody play, say, Dark Souls 3, because that's what I'm into, that does not replace the experience of playing Dark Souls 3. Like, you know, because, like, if I go online and play with my friends, me doing that, or me going through and, like, losing to a boss, doesn't actually replace, like, the challenge, you know, because it's not challenging to watch someone do a Let's Play or a perfect run, you know, there's some people who, like, oh, I beat the final boss in Dark Souls naked with only my fists without dodging. I can't do that shit. You know, you know, full disclosure, guys, I'm not the best Dark Souls player in the world, so I might not be able to do that on my first try.
Unless Lenny is not wearing pants.
Wouldn't that be something though? Like, if it actually worked that way, like you just watch like the greatest run of your life, like on YouTube, and you go like, "Wow, now I can say I actually did that."
Yeah, that's like, you just go onto your fucking, like, Xbox. Oh, wow, look, I got the, like, achievement for beating the game just by watching a Let's Play on the YouTube app. That's not how it works. That's not how any game or any, like, interactive medium works. So, by definition, watching somebody else play it, especially with commentary, is so transformative that it doesn't infringe upon it. There are some things in regards to story elements, sure. But again, it's still markedly different, so you can't. If it spoils it for him, that's on the consumer or the customer to choose whether or not something gets spoiled. It's the same thing with like trailers. If you don't want to get spoiled, then don't watch segments of the movie that they push out before it's released. Or if there's a leak script, like people say, "Oh, quit leaking scripts. It's like it's spoiled." It's like, then quit reading them. No one. Like, it's the same thing. It's like market demand. No one would put out a leaked script if nobody read them, because otherwise, what's the point? You won't make money. You won't get attention.
Yep.
Now, if only those people applied that same logic whenever they watched the Batman v Superman trailer.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many angles to this, but still more to the point. Let's Plays, in and of themselves, are not a replacement for games, and by that logic, are completely within the lines of fair use.
Right.
Yep.
All right. Well, Jalen, let's get your thoughts so we can go ahead and move on to the next story.
YouTube is on some fuck shit. And that's all I gotta say about that.
Well, I agree.
They know they're wrong for that nonsense. That poor man's videos.
Yeah.
Gobbly shit. Meanwhile, Fox is just like, oh, sorry. We didn't do anything wrong. It was an accident.
Fox probably is just sitting there and just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
We're the good guys in this situation. We did something nice. Watch our stuff on.
Yeah,
Fox.
we let this guy keep his own video, praise us, and buy season 28 of Family Guy.
Oh God.
I'm just surprised that people are still watch Family Guy.
It's the new Simpsons.
You would actually be surprised how many. If people like a show, they'll stick with it into the bitter end.
We know Adolfo watches Family Guy.
Just ask One Piece fans.
Nah.
Sorry, I had to throw that jab in there.
Yeah, but yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next story because this one, I feel like this one is also going to be long because I'm pretty sure a lot of us have a lot, all of us have a lot to say on this. So, hey guys, you heard about the new Ghostbusters?
Oh baby.
Oh dear Lord.
So, apparently, if you don't want to go see the new Ghostbusters, you are a sexist, you're a worthless piece of shit, and you don't have any friends.
Yep.
Yep, so Jalen, take it away.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and babies who have high levels of reading comprehension. So, Ghostbusters 2016, its trailer wasn't that good. Its second trailer wasn't that good. And then a man by the name of James Rolfe, you might know him as the Angry Video Game Nerd, came out and said, "Hey, I do reviews of movies and stuff, and one of my favorite movies of all time is Ghostbusters. So a lot of my fans have been asking me, am I going to review the new Ghostbusters? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to review it. I don't want to see it. I don't think it looks good, but judging by the trailer. I like the first Ghostbusters too much, and I feel like this doesn't live up to the original's level of quality, so I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to review it, and there you go. Okay, bye." And then the amount of backlash he got from people who never even heard of the man was just ridiculous. Let me tell you, there was an article like James Angry Video Game Nerd is a whiny baby because he's sexist, and he did the most amazing trick in the book. He really he didn't talk about the cast being women, so he wouldn't be criticized. But we know he did that for that exact purpose, so we're criticizing him.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's like he went into their houses and punched their baby. It was just, the backlash was fucking amazing, and like how like overreactive it was. It was just a guy going like, "No, I'm not going to review this new movie." Like, holy shit!
Like, oh my god, he used marketing materials released before the film to judge whether or not it's a worthy product to buy. And came to the conclusion that it wasn't.
Yep.
Holy shit, guys! You got your
Isn't that
fucking
shenanigans?
pitchforks and torches ready. You ready to bury him alive? You ready to like burn him at the video game movie critic stake?
Oh my god! And to make matters worse, like there's just been constant like shit going on where like the director is coming out and saying, "Oh, everybody who dislikes my new movie is a fucking asshole." And Melissa McCarthy coming out and go like, "Oh, by the way, I hope you guys who don't like this movie you guys really need friends. I hope you find friends, because you guys suck." It has just turned into this giant shitstorm.
Mm-hmm.
It's just unbelievable.
And this just turned me off of the movie completely. I wasn't gonna watch it anyway, but now even if some random person, let's say I meet the love of my life, and the first date, she wanted to go on a date. She was like, "Let's go see the new Ghostbusters." I would ruin my chances at love to not see this
You
movie.
would probably be doing yourself a favor.
Oh my god.
I mean, see, it's like this. It's like there's times when directors and actors will make comments about the various things that people say, and there's a certain tact you have to have that when you do this. Like the cast in Batman v Superman, which we know that there's a lot of negative critical reception around it.
Mm-hmm.
When that first came out, they didn't say the people who dislike it are stupid, sexist, racist haters. They said the people who we talked to at the premiere said they liked it very much, and I hope the rest of the people think this or feel this way too. And that's not derogatory towards any of the people who dislike it. They just said, we saw that people liked it in our personal experience, and that is, in a way, basically saying like, oh, well, these people liked it, maybe you should too, so there is certain expectations or biases with it.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, it doesn't seem or sound disrespectful. It's just how it is. Like I don't even know how else to like put it other than that. But in short, even with like movies that people like panned like completely, even more than Batman v Superman, in this case I'm referring to Gods of Egypt, like pretty much everyone except for like me hated that movie or found it to be bad or like a guilty pleasure. And
Hey, I didn't hate that movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. You considered it to be like a flawed but potentially fun movie. You know?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but it was just really very low in regards to everyone else. And the director, Alex Proyas, went on Facebook, and he basically said that all the critics weren't saying shit. They were just mirroring what all the bloggers were saying, which is basically, this movie isn't good because, like, all the gods are white, except for the ones that aren't, but whatever. Is basically saying that everyone was saying this movie's racist, and so nobody wanted to say anything good about it. And on one hand, it might just sound like he's whining because of low review scores, but if you read the reviews, a lot of people have nothing to say about the movie other than it's boring and it looks bad, and it's like, it mentions nothing about cinematography or writing or acting styles or the actual narrative or themes present. It just says, oh, I hate to go back to Family Guy. It's like them all just mirroring words that they saw on the TV show. They're like, oh, well, this is shallow and pedantic. It's just like there's nothing of substance, and the few I have seen that are of substance do criticize the film. They mention that the visual style is not representative of the year it came out. It looks like a 2008 film, not a 2016 film. There's a lot of graphical errors. The acting style is typically wooden. There's a lot of things in regards to continuity with the gods that doesn't line up perfectly. Those are valid criticisms, and he says he's okay with valid criticisms, but just accusing him of racism doesn't count as the movie being bad. And even then, it's still more respectful than saying that your entire fan base is idiots who have no friends or are fake before you even let them go and see the movie.
Yeah. I've just been completely turned off this movie. Yeah, and to be fair, like when we first saw the first trailer, like I think did we have a reaction to the first trailer?
I don't think we did.
No, we did. Well, we did talk about it after we saw the first trailer, and we all generally agreed that it was awful, right?
Yeah, that's a bad trailer.
It just looked underwhelming.
Yeah, it didn't have anything to do with it being all females. Like, honestly, I don't think anybody cares. Like, that should not be a problem. If an actor is a good actor, it should be a good movie. I think movies are bad if the acting is bad cinematography, bad script. Which just seems to be like this movie's big problem. Is that the writing in it is shit. And apparently, like, the rumor is they tried to get in, like, all of the cast competed for, like, most jokes. So they were just shooting out jokes left and right. And to me, that doesn't sound like it makes for very good dialogue or anything like that. What do you think? What do you guys think about that?
They do that in other movies too, comedic ones where they have a bunch of comedians doing their thing. They're just like, okay, do your thing. Granted, there may be more script involved. I don't know how much script to ad lib ratio is in this movie.
All right, Lenny, you were saying?
It's like it's hard to say because there are some instances where we have ad libbing working out very, very well. In the case of, say, the original Ghostbusters, apparently a large amount of lines that we saw in the final products were like, ad-libbed by, Harold Ramis, Bill Murray, and all of them. But the thing that I think stands to point is that even though they had a lot of ad-lib stuff, the difference between that and what they're doing here is that, as far as I can tell, and mind you, this is up to speculation, it's not based on facts, is the original one had it to where they had a set script in mind the entire time, and if the thing that they said as a joke was more funny than what was in the script, or they felt that it fit the scene, they kept it in. Whereas in this case, it seems like there is, at least based on the implication, not a full script, and they're just leaving them open and hoping that the ad-lib just sort of works. It just seems more like they're hoping or just relying on the power of improv comedy instead of, say, letting improv happen naturally. Because the best improv sessions, at least in my opinion, happen when you're supposed to say something and you just deviate from it. Mm-hmm. There's nothing to deviate from if you're just hoping that they stand around and do funny things. So, I don't know, it's kind of a hard thing to, like, go in depth about. And mind you, I'm not a comedy doctor. I have no idea what's best for comedy. Obviously, if I was, I might be more successful in YouTube community, but that's just sort of my stance on it. You shouldn't rely on something that's supposed to happen at random bursts.
Well, Lenny, it also depends on the people doing the acting as well. Because one of the secrets to Rick and Morty's success in its comedy is that they write the script so that it can be ad-libbed. they write enough general nonsense so that when they actually go in the recording booth and they want to have room for ad-libbing, they have the room to ad-lib.
Yeah. See, so there you go. And I've seen a little bit of the show. I haven't seen a ton, but either way, that show is seen by a lot of people to be very successful and funny.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, shows what I know.
Oh man, but oh god, yeah. It's just this movie. I don't know. Like, it can't just be. Have we gotten to the point where like you not wanting to go see a movie can't be because the movie looks bad? It has to be like some underlining hate.
Yep.
That seems to be the case.
Jesus Christ. Well, Perry, you haven't said much. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, you pretty much took the words out of my mouth, Adolfo. I was gonna say pretty much that exact same thing we pretty much have gotten to a point where it's, you not going to a movie is no longer just saying something of, I just don't like this movie. I don't want to go see it. I think it might be bad. That's it. It's now, not going to see a movie is now become a statement. That's pretty much it. It's pretty much become like a political statement. In fact, I would not be surprised that if someone was stupid enough, actually, let me rephrase that, someone stupid enough will basically come around to a point and say, if you don't see this, then you are a socialist, liberal, democratic piece of shit. Or you're a gun-toting, conservative, Republican dumbass. I will not be surprised if that happens before this year ends.
Oh, God.
Absolutely not. And that will become a running theme throughout, like, the next couple of years. I would not be surprised in the slightest. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've probably projected to see more movies than I've actually watched. I've tried to change that, mostly because I will admit I'm trying to push myself a little bit. But even if I see a movie that I think will be bad and I still result that it's bad, it's not because of who has what between their legs. If I think that a character is a bad character, I'm going to say it's a bad character. I mean, hell, I pretty much bitched that when I first saw Cabin Fever. I couldn't stop bitching about how bad the characters were. And I know this because Lenny had to feel the brunt of it.
Yeah. I mean, they're just bad characters. There's nothing to it. And you don't, like, it doesn't have to be, oh, well, they're a bad character because they smoke the weed and I think weed is illegal. It's like, that's not why. That's not a thing. It's not like, oh, you're supporting the lumber industries because you're anti-weed, man. It's like, no, Eli Roth can't write for shit and has nothing to do with marijuana policies. It's just to be blunt, it's nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, and not to mention, I love the fact that they basically it's gotten to the point where you saying not going to see this one specific movie is now turning you into a sexist pig. And I have to counteract with saying, oh, so I have to basically explain that, I don't know, half of my top 5 favorite movies ever, well, okay, about 3 out of my top 5 favorite movies ever have a starring female role, not to mention they're all relatively strong, and another one of my favorite female movies, which came out last year, is probably one of the strongest leading roles ever, and let's see, Ghost in the Shell is about a cybernetic woman who leads a group of men into combat and deals with cyber terrorists. Mary Poppins deals with a woman who has to train children how to behave properly and learn to appreciate life and lessons, as well as whip their father into shape. Spirited Away deals with a young girl trying to rescue her parents from being imprisoned.
God, I love that movie.
Yeah. Last I checked, those aren't demeaning roles, are they?
Nope.
No.
And Mad Max Fury Road pretty much stars Furiosa with guest star Mad Max.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, last I checked, none of those roles are demeaning, and all of those are pretty much in my favorite films ever. Probably in my top 10.
Well, see, Perry, you've walked into their trap because now they're going to say, oh, well, a majority of those roles are white women, so now you're racist.
Yep.
Funny, considering the fact that 2 of those characters are Japanese.
But they're cartoon people, so they're not real women.
But they're voiced by Japanese women.
Not
That's what
in
they'd
the
like you to
American
think.
version, which you apparently
Doesn't
probably
English
watch
is not
because you're
correct.
American.
Funny they mention that because it also has Japanese people as part of the cast. And it's funny because do you know who was actually not upset about this? The fucking Japanese.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, they don't
it's
get too
the
much.
people Who the ethnicity that originally created the franchise of Ghost in the Shell. Sorry to make this a Ghost in the Shell rant. It's funny the fact that the franchise that was originally created in Japan and the people who made it could give less of a fuck that Scarlett Johansson, a white woman, is playing Motoko Kusanagi. In fact, they have said that she actually looks the part. They're actually kind of grateful the fact that such a leading lady is getting a role like that.
Yeah.
So, what do you say to that? Oh, and not to mention, you know what also is weird as shit? Sorry to bring this off in another rant, but with the Full Metal Alchemist movie, that's being represented by an all-Japanese cast. Where did it get its inspirations from? Fucking Europe!
Yep.
Yeah, like, for all intents
Basically...
and
Sorry, go ahead, Lenny.
like, for all intents and purposes, the geographical area that's supposed to be like a mistress in FMA is pretty much Germany.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
Pretty
like
much
they're
World War II, but with magic.
yeah, like it's just Germany with magic, and that's not even like too much of a hyperbole because it's like their leader is called the Führer, and most of the people like within the cast are either blonde or brunette, which is European,
Yeah.
and like the only people who show anything in regards, and it's like it's not saying oh well they're just Japanese people with like blonde hair. It's like no, in like the manga and in Brotherhood they specifically show people of Asian descent to be called like Jinese, and they have a very different look to everyone else. So it's not just like oh well, they're Japanese and they happen to be blonde. It's like no, they're definitely German, European, Caucasian, whichever of these you want to say.
And that's not even counting the Ishvalans.
Yeah, that's not counting these Ishvalans who, depending on who you ask, they're either supposed to represent people who are Middle Eastern or a subsect of Chinese people who are subjugated to various military and political uprisings, but...
I always assumed they were kind of like Eastern European.
Yeah, that too.
That's kind of what I assumed, or like maybe... Yeah, just mostly Eastern European, mostly that, or either that, maybe like just, I don't know, maybe closer to Greco-Roman areas or something like that.
Yeah, either way, just of a different locale or ethnicity than German.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But going back to Ghostbusters, I just find this hilarious that, I'm gonna suspect, like what you were saying earlier, Jalen, that if you ever get, if any one of us ever get a girlfriend and we run into a girl and basically say, hey, what's one of your favorite movies? I was like, oh, it's Ghostbusters. Wait, which one? Are you going to talk about the 84 version? Or are you going to talk about the 2016 version? You know what the proper answer is going to be?
I don't like Ghostbusters at all.
Which is the only version.
It's true. I actually want to hold an experiment. I want 2 of us to go see Ghostbusters and 2 of us not to see. And then I want all of us to be on Skype video. And I want to capture the exact moment those woman-hating rays beam down upon the 2 that didn't watch the video. And we suddenly become sexist pigs.
I almost want to see this just to see what the fuck is going to happen outside of the movie theater.
Like, okay, like, not to bring this up again, but this is the problem. I've heard some people say that you shouldn't go and see Ghostbusters because, like, apparently since there's only one black lady and she's not a scientist, apparently that means the movie is racist. So,
Okay.
if you see the movie, you're supporting racism, and if you don't see it, then you're supporting misogyny.
Okay. The people who do see it will get hit by sudden flashes of racism and they'll become racist.
Yeah,
So basically, what do they think we're going to do? Expecting handing out Klan hoods or something?
They would accuse us of such things. It's been done before.
So,
Okay, look, I'm not a Donald Trump supporter. Don't really like the guy, but Donald Trump is not in the Ku Klux Klan. That's just as far as we know, that's a fact. And yet people will still say that he is just because they don't like him.
Stipulation.
Yeah, it's just that we have no evidence to support that.
Yes.
And so, thus, just saying he is just because he said a few things which in some people's eyes are racist, and some people it's like, oh, no, he didn't mean all Mexicans. It's like, whatever that stipulation is, the point is, like, people will make these extreme exaggerations towards people that they don't like, and you can't win. Like, you can just say, I don't like X. In this case, I don't like the concept of seeing Ghostbusters 3, and let's say, oh, I don't like you because you're either misogynist or sexist or racist or whatever. It's like, can I just, like, the quality of CG in this movie does not have anything to do with, like, sex or race. It's just shit. Unless I'm being discriminatory towards poop.
Alright, guys, I'm being completely serious. Like, we can film it all and send it to Hollywood and have it branded as Unfriended 3.
I keep imagining the scene from the first Spider-Man movie where the Green Goblin throws those bombs and all the military guys just turn into skeletons.
Now I'm just imagining Willem Dafoe's little song, the Itsy Bitsy Spider Went the Wonder Spell, kabloom!
Oh, God. But, have we all said everything we want to say on this?
More or
Yeah,
less.
pretty much. I mean, it's just going to be that in a roundabout way, basically saying, like, oh, people are going to say stupid shit because we don't like this movie. And that's...
Yeah.
What can you do?
But, if you've taken anything from these rants, just know this. If you don't go watch Ghostbusters, you'll be hit with deadly misogynist radiation that will turn you into a woman-hating psychopath.
It's like the Hulk with none of the benefits.
Exactly.
If you're married, you'll instantly divorce your wife.
Oh, God.
Most
Like,
likely
not
be
to-
doing a favor.
Like, I don't want to make this into a full topic, but there is just a thing, that, like, an article that was posted in the, like, last week or so. Apparently, 50% of misogynist tweets are made by women.
Hello,
Huh.
hello, kettle. Meat pot.
Like,
I don't know what to say about that.
yeah, and apparently that's down. Apparently, there was, like, another site that did a study like that where it was 71% of misogynist, like, quotes or something were women, and then apparently it's gone down in recent years.
Why is that?
I have no idea.
Because it's hard to oppress yourself.
Well, I remember why. Because the first study they did.
Oh, don't worry. It's really easy to oppress yourself. Just ask anyone who's religious.
I remember where it was from. The first study was on Ask Cupid. Basically, they said, "Hey, men, how do you interpret women?" And it was literally like a perfect bell curve of of an average. Like roughly 20% were in the middle. Then 6% was on each of the extremes of least attractive to most attractive, and then all the rest, like, literally just made a perfect little bell curve. On the women's side, 56% said that most of the other men or women on the site were considered least attractive, and not a single person that the women ever reviewed in the entirety of the OkCupid site said that anyone was the most attractive person. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Like, literally, not a single woman in the entire study that they did on their own site, like, in regards to the women who are rating other men and women in regards to their attractiveness, ever said that anybody on the site at all was in the most attractive category. Whereas in men, they said that 6% of the people that they had reviewed were most attractive.
You know, I kind of just want to gather all of these people up who do this kind of stuff on a regular basis and just kind of tally them up and kind of publicly say, okay, what do you exactly look like? Just so that way I know who my enemies are.
Oh, God.
Because it's kind of like, okay, there's a certain little... actually, no, I'm not going to go into that incident because I'm just going to go on a giant historical rant. It's basically the policy of, I'd rather know who my enemies are and keep them close, just so that way I know exactly where to look.
Right. But let's go ahead.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and move on to another story, because this one is not as crazy as this one, but it's also pretty crazy. So, guys, are we all excited for No Man's Sky?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait to explore that massive vast of planets.
Yeah.
Although I have...
Go ahead.
Sorry, there's one thing I wanted to mention about No Man's Sky, but we can get to the story first.
All right. So apparently one person just cannot wait to play No Man's Sky. He was so upset that the developer for No Man's Sky actually received a death threat after they decided to delay the game. That's crazy.
Man, if I can't explore space on the 21st of June, I'm gonna come to your house and launch you into space myself. See how you feel. You'll never come back.
I think they were just mad because now their option is either Mighty Number 9 or nothing.
Oh, we're gonna field note that one, aren't we?
No Mighty Number Sky.
But let's go ahead and give our opinions on it. Perry, what do you think?
Honestly, this doesn't surprise me. I mean, when it comes to being an asshole on the internet, the first lesson is learn how to send a death threat. I mean, it might as well be a course at this point. It's like, Internet Asshole 101. Lesson 1, send death threats. Lesson 2, support the Ghostbusters movie. So, I had to throw that in there. But no, I'm honest. I mean, I don't understand. I guess it's just because since I'm becoming more and more understanding of how games are actually made, these are kind of people I just want to say, guys, can we, to quote Shaun of the Dead, can we all just calm the fuck down? Seriously, I mean, games get delayed all the time. Every time. It's not that big of a deal. AAA games are super susceptible to being delayed. And you know what? Usually, 9 times out of 10, whenever a game gets delayed and it's released, it usually is better than what was originally promised.
Unless it's delayed for 14 years.
Okay, yes, but that's Duke Nukem, and that's a whole different issue. So, that being said, I just can't. I mean, just the idea is like, guys, chill out. No Man's Sky is going to be fine. It will release when it can. It's going to be fine. We're all going to get to explore space. There's going to be a giant fuck ton of universe there. It's not going anywhere. It'll be okay. That's really it. And just learn some fucking patience. I guess since I've gotten to this point where I've waited for Final Fantasy 15 for 10 years, I'm pretty much just like, I don't care how long I've had to wait. It can't be as long as 15, so I'm willing to wait for anything at this point.
As long as it doesn't cross the 14-year period, it's fine, and it's coming out in September, so Final Fantasy 15 is okay.
Yeah, and given how that's shaping up, I'm pretty certain it's going to turn out just fine. So, with No Man's Sky, it's been, 3 years since its original announcement? 3 years, 2 years, something like that?
I think
something like that.
So, it's been I would say it's been a relatively average time frame considering how long we've known about this. I mean, usually whenever we hear about a big AAA game or something like this, or even an indie game like this, it usually takes a while. And considering the fact that they're working on this massive level of a scope, I'm just like, wow. Okay, I can understand you wanting to take a little bit of time with this considering you are literally building a universe.
Mm.
I mean, most games can only probably build like maybe 100,000th of that in a typical AAA game, in case of point Skyrim.
Right.
So, and probably not look half as good as what you're doing with No Man's Sky.
Mm.
So, that being said, I don't blame Hello Games at all for taking the delay. To the person making the death threats, chill the fuck out. That's really it. This is a whole matter of you guys, people just need to chill the fuck out. Games get delayed all the time. They usually turn out a lot better in the end. There's really nothing wrong with it getting delayed. It will usually probably result in it being better.
Right.
Now, there is one thing I did want to mention this real quick because I recently got into a discussion with one of my professors, and this is the one who I've talked with Lenny a couple times, who says there's no story in video games.
Huh.
Yeah, but that's a discussion for another day. He was saying that basically No Man's Sky has no design.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was arguing that No Man's Sky has basically no design. It's nothing more than just a tech demo to say that can do this. Like, there's really no reason to do anything in No Man's Sky, because there's no reason to do No Man's Sky at all, because all you're doing is just floating around and just exploring planets.
Why should we get up in the morning? We should just sleep forever.
Yeah, I'm kind of just sitting, and I won't lie, it's becoming a running gag in my classroom where every time he mentions there's no story in video games, he always looks at me for a reaction because I'm the most vocal about this. But it becomes so predictable that I just kind of let him run his fat mouth. It's like, I don't even have to fight you anymore. This is too easy. It's kind of like that moment in DBZ where Goku realizes he could beat Frieza without even breaking a sweat. It's just like, and I'm bored. And I was like, bye! So, I don't know. Just going back to No Man's Sky, I'm still excited for it. I'm okay with it being delayed. It's not a big issue. So, really, Hello Games, take your time with this. I understand it's a big game. It's the biggest game that probably anyone's gonna make in a long time. And who knows? Maybe you can do some DLC content for it that would allow you to make like story expansions or something like that set within the universe, or add on certain things. I see no reason why they couldn't, considering how huge the world is. And not to mention, given the fact there's some lore into this game, I imagine there's going to be a healthy community trying to decipher the lore behind it.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't imagine it'll be something like the Dark Souls community where there's basically encyclopedias worth of it, but I imagine it'll be fairly healthy.
Right. All right, well, Lenny, what do you think?
I mean, it kind of goes back to what, Perry was saying. It's like, the games have been delayed before, and then they came out. And the majority of the time, games that get delayed will end up better than how they used to be. Obviously, with some exceptions, Duke Nukem, but what you have is like, one example that I usually use is The Darkness 2. That got delayed by 3 or 4 months, and that was for 2 reasons. One, during the specific holiday time when they were going to be selling it, they were going up against a lot of AAA contenders, and so they decided to move it towards February, which I think is a dry month comparatively for movies and games. And so by that logic, people will then have enough money to buy it after they already bought all the big contenders, and so sales will then be more reflected on the quality of the game rather than which Call of Duty is out that year.
Right.
And the other thing I want to mention is that the game was delayed from specifically June 21st to August 8th, which means slightly more than a month. And I had to wait double that time for The Darkness 2. I didn't threaten to kill anybody. And the game turned out good. And it's just that. A month is not really that much time to wait, especially because it's still releasing within its original intended time frame of summer of 2016. And, I mean, that's pretty much it. It's just wait, see what happens, and don't kill anyone. That last part should be obvious. Don't kill anyone. But it's... And I don't know. That's all I gotta say about that. In regards to your teacher, Perry, I do think it has room for a story. They just haven't shown it because maybe they know how to hold their tongue, unlike a lot of people who make trailers for Hollywood these days, where they reveal half a plot in a trailer anyways. But and the other thing is, the concept of the game not having a plot, because it doesn't necessarily say, oh, well, you can do this thing and you can do this thing. It's yes, what about, every modern RPG ever? I'm not a huge fan of, Oblivion and Skyrim, but the freedom to allow you to do whatever you want in those games is why people like the story, because it's unless I do the main story quest, I'm not on a set linear path for, what stories I can and can't do. I'm on the path that I set for myself, and that's the same thing here. You know, do you want to be a good guy? Cool, go do the space thing. Do you want to be a bandit? Okay, go shoot the space thing. Do you want to be a cataloger? Okay, catalog the space thing. and that's what you can do. The ability to choose something doesn't necessarily take away narrative focus as long as all the potential things that you can do are well developed enough. So it's like, if I'm going to give an example, there's like a magic class in Demon Souls was comparatively poorly developed when you compare it to that in the future Dark Souls games. And even then, it's still considered a not very good class to use until some later installments, and it's completely absent for the most part in Bloodborne. But what it comes down to is, if you're going to have multiple avenues, just make sure people can explore them enough to be satisfied. Instead of just like 1 or 2 quests where it's like, oh, you have 2 quests where you're evil and 90 where you're good. Gee, I wonder which one you're going to gravitate towards. So just, and the game seems huge, so I doubt it's just going to be one type, especially because they say there's going to be, you know, combat and like, I remember one time, I forget which interview it is, but one time someone in an interview said that you can just kind of stick around on one planet all you want and just kind of explore the entirety of it and mine it and use your materials to like create your own like shit on that planet. It's just that exploring more of them gives you a wider variety of tools and upgrades to use. So it's to your advantage to explore, but you don't have to unless you want to. And you can fight or not fight, you can farm or not farm, you can kill animals, you can run away from the police. It's diversity and options.
Man, I've always wanted to do whatever I wanted in space.
And I'm surprised he's saying that there's no point to the game when there appears, as far as I can tell, not to be a narrative focus, when he's the guy who bitches about narrative in the first place. Like, it's like true irony packed into a little ball and thrown against your...
Well, it's not that he's bitching about the narrative, he's bitching about the design.
Like, there's so many things, though. I don't know. Anyways, that's my...
What can I say? My teacher's a troll.
That's all I got.
Oh, God. Well, Jalen, what do you think?
One day I'll get to go in that space and I'll be like, was it worth the money? Was it worth the wait? But until then, I still have to, you know, do the whole process of waiting. I don't mind.
So you're not going to go outside your house and violently murder somebody because you have to wait?
Man, one time I waited 2 hours for a meal and I didn't even complain.
Oh, man. But, oh, God, this is silly. Like, why? What is that going to gain? Was he expecting the developer just like to show up at his house? You stood up to me. Here is a copy of No Man's Sky. Right now.
It's like, oh man, I was just holding it in my office for like a month just to see what people would do, but okay, I guess I'll just give it to you now.
You called
me. It'd be crazy if he got it and the build of the game just had like 3/4 of the universe.
You called me out. Here's your price. Oh, God. Lighten up, people. Come on. It's just a little bit more wait time.
Just grow some fucking patience.
Yep. But with that, let's go ahead and move on to another story. Perry, it's your turn. Let's go ahead and listen to what you have to say.
Okay, then. Well, this is an interesting one. So, would you guys say that the critical reception to Doom has been fairly positive so far?
Yeah.
The recent one. Mm-hmm. And would you say that when it comes to video games and having to complete them and review them, whether it's for Let's Plays, professional, or just casual purposes, that you have to be somewhat competent when it comes to playing the game, correct?
Yeah.
You at least got to be able to, you know, understand what's going on, be able to control, use the camera. Yeah. Actually be able to tell what you're doing through the video.
Yeah. Well, apparently, the folks at Polygon and a couple of other people would disagree. Because recently, Polygon posted a review, did a review for Doom, And with it, there was a certain video that came around that was basically a Polygon playing, the reviewer of Polygon playing Doom. And, well, to put it bluntly, he sucked. And basically, this whole started the idea of the whole get good mentality. And I've heard this phrase used a lot, especially when it comes to Dark Souls. For people who suck at it, people say get good. And I get that, because Dark Souls is usually a very hard series. But you usually have to be pretty good at a game in order to beat it, in order to enjoy it. Now, there's some people, like specifically those at Rock, Paper, Shotgun, who say that getting good, or the get good mentality is, let's see, what was the name of the article again? The get good mentality is why people don't take games seriously. And I just have to ask a simple question for this guy, for the reviewers out there, or the professional critics of it. If a person who technically is never even considered, or likely is never considered, with regards to the development of these games, who is not reviewing these professionally, and knows a bunch of other people who are handicapped with way worse disabilities than my own, can actually beat these games in a much more competent, skillful, and talented manner than any of you, what does that say about your skill level and your ability to complete it? Oh, and we could probably do a review better than you. What does that say about your mentality? And saying that, oh, well, reviewers don't need to be good in order to beat a game. Bullshit. You need to in order to get a decent idea about it. Otherwise, you're taking the Yahtzee approach and just playing a game till you're bored and just give up.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even doing it like Yahtzee would in order to make a joke or make some like witty one-liner or something like that. At least then that's a somewhat excuse. You're still reviewing the game, so you still have to beat it. Now, on the other hand, I can see why some people might say they don't need to be extremely good to beat a game. Someone could say, like, what about button-mashing fighting games? It's like, yes, some games can allow you to do that and have a varying degree of success. But when you're a professional reviewer who reviews games for a living and who is getting assigned to a certain game and is having hours and hours to get accompanied with, you should at least understand how this works. And depending on the complexity of the game, I can understand you wanted to take more time with it. But that leads me to another case of, this is freaking Doom. It's not fucking Europa Universalis or Hearts of Iron. That I can understand being complicated. This is Doom. It's about as simple of a first-person shooter as you get. It's pretty much the Michael Bay of first-person shooters, just less explosions and more demons.
You literally don't even have to aim down your sights. I'm not kidding. There is no button to aim down your sights. You just point and shoot at stuff and they die.
That's pretty much the shotgun from Doom.
Like, you actually need to have one of your guns upgraded to get a down sights option.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's pretty round thing goes in round hole kind of mentality when it comes to the approach. But I guess that's too hard for some people.
Like,
when you shoot, what? I don't know how to point.
yeah,
I don't know how to
if
shoot.
you watch the video, the two things that they fail to recognize is the ability to move and shoot at the same time, the fact that damage actually applies to them, and that you don't have to be at point-blank range to shoot. Like, throughout the video, with their pistol and their shotgun, they get, like, within melee range of all these demons, and miss with a shotgun and with melee attacks, and the pistol at point-blank range, and then even when there's ones approaching them, they'll just run straight up to them, and they will not strafe away from the person while shooting them. And they died 2 or 3 times throughout the course of the entire 30-minute thing, which it's not saying that you can't put up video and die. Because obviously, like, you know, I consider myself to be relatively good at Dark Souls, not, you know, professional level PvPer, not a speedrunner, but I consider myself adequate. And yet, I die a lot. I die constantly. That's part of the appeal of Dark Souls, that you are put in a situation to which you aren't guaranteed to succeed, or at least succeed very often. And yeah. But the problem is, this person was playing it on easy. And they could hardly do shit in the first level of the game, and they didn't learn from their mistakes throughout the entire half hour of it.
I was crying by the time he just run up on a guy and would still miss. Like the models were touching each other.
Oh god. And to the people saying like, "Oh, you don't have to be, you don't have to know how to play video games to review them." Let's just say you're getting a tattoo. Like, you're already like, you have your shirt off, you're laying down, and like he already started, and he goes like, "Oh, by the way, I don't know how to draw, but don't you dare fucking judge me because of that. I'm a professional." How would you guys feel?
I'd never get tattoos, but if it was you in that statement, I'd have to make sure you didn't do anything, that would impair your judgment.
It's just fucking stupid. You're supposed to be professional. Like, why are you even reviewing games if you don't play them?
And it's not like we're saying, yo, you gotta be MLG skilled tier pro.
No.
But you just gotta be okay.
At least
You
fucking
just gotta
like,
beat the game.
Like, here's the thing. The reason why I think people at least... I think they should be better than okay, honestly. And here's the reason why, alright? If you had somebody on the street, like somebody who just does whatever for their living, like a lumberjack, come up to me and tell me, hey, you shouldn't buy Overwatch, my reaction is going to be, should I trust what this person has to say? No. Why? Because they're a lumberjack for a living. That's not to say that he can't play games because you're a lumberjack, far from it. It's more the saying, like, why would I take your opinion more seriously than, say, any of the casual gamers that I play with? Like, meaning, when I say casual, I don't mean it like, oh, you only play, like, Angry Bird and the Wii, you're casual. No. I mean casual in the sense that we don't do it professionally through either competitions or work.
Right.
Like, none of us do anything for a living that actually involves video games, barring Perry right now. And with that in mind, if you're getting paid for a full-time job to tell people about video games, that means that you should be doing it more than anybody. That means that you should be playing more than anybody, and that your opinion should be more valid than anybody. And how can I take your word for something if you aren't competent enough at a game to understand the mechanics? Because skill at a game implies not intimate knowledge of the mechanics. Because, like, I'll give you an example. I was playing Dark Souls, and my friend told me, oh, after the first 2 hits, the person is no longer stun locked, and they can, like, roll out of it. I didn't know that shit. I just thought you could just keep wailing on them and they'd be stuck forever. And that's why I kept dying, because they kept hitting me after those 2 hits. And it's like, that's why he's better than me at the game. Because he has knowledge of the mechanics and he's able to learn from them and everything else. This fucking person doesn't even understand that guns are a long-distance weapon in a Doom game. You are not qualified to tell me whether or not I can, make a purchase, or whether or not it's like a well-informed purchase. It's... This isn't that difficult to do. I know very little about guns, so I can't go up to my friend who's a gunsmith and say, hey, you shouldn't be making AK-47s. I hear they're kind of inaccurate, and then just like walk off and say, like, goodbye, I'm qualified. Shit doesn't work that way. I shouldn't even have to be saying this, but how do you get to this point? And the thing that gets me is that, based on what like Perry was saying before, that everyone went to Polygon's defense.
Yes.
Like, most of the major news sites immediately went to their defense, insulting gamers. They were saying, and they brought up Gamergate again. Like, they're saying, oh, you guys are just mad at journalists because you're butthurt over Gamergate, so you're just using this as new fuel for an old debate or an old fire or something. And I'm like, oh my fucking god. Can you address the actual criticism? Because they just say, oh, it's okay. No one asked if they were having fun. You don't get paid to have fun.
It's true.
You get paid to inform us about whether or not our product is good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the thing is, they never say who did the video. They never once say who did it. It was posted on, like, social media somewhere by the person who wrote the review for Doom on Polygon. The implication being that he was the one who did the video, but he's later went out and said, no, I'm not the one who did it. Because he's probably trying to save face. But the point is, if he's the one who did review it, then why isn't he the one playing the video? And even if that's not the case, if you're going to have an unnamed person playing this, the implication would be that this video is supposed to represent Polygon as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that that person in the video who could not hit a basic demon at point blank range with a shotgun is the best Doom player in the entirety of Polygon.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that, and it doesn't mean that's necessarily true, but that's the only thing that we can take away from it if they're not going to give us anything else to work with.
Right. And basically, they lost all my respect because they basically said, like, oh, guys, we never said we were gamers. We're bloggers. We tell people things.
So why we listen to bloggers about games?
Exactly.
Way to avoid all responsibilities, people.
And that's basically just saying, we're wasting your fucking time. Defend us.
No.
Oh my god.
I almost kind of want to say, to these guys, dude, I don't even care about Doom. I could probably beat you guys with one hand tied behind my in my sleep and beat Doom better and more efficiently than you could. And I'm not even the target audience for someone like Doom.
Mm.
Right. But, yeah, the reason I love Doom so much is because I played it as a kid, and back then I was into first-person shooters, so, I love it. But it's not a hard game at all.
Well, you do blindfolded and you still succeed at it.
I can split my attention from the game and still rock the shit out of it. Usually while I'm playing it, I'm watching a YouTube video or talking to you guys.
You could probably beat it while you're watching a YouTube video upside down.
And I never pause the game either. I can literally play it one-handed.
Welcome to my world.
I remember some people were trying to defend these guys, saying oh well, Markiplier's not that great at games and everyone loves him, and it's I don't look to Markiplier as an authority in regards to whether or not I should purchase games.
If anything, he's just an authority on finding cheap-ass jump scares.
He's just an entertainer. That's it. I don't look to entertainers for actual advice. It's like Jim Carrey, love the guy, I think he's funny. I'm not going to listen to him for political advice, I'm not going to look towards Hulk Hogan for dating advice. I'm not going to look towards Arnold Schwarzenegger on being a vegan.
That's like looking to JonTron for gaming recommendations.
But okay, that's a more iffy topic, but aside from that,
what? Well, the dude's a comedian. That's what he does. He goes for comedy.
Yeah, that is true. But more to the point, saying that people like Markiplier and Game Grumps and whatever are okay and this thing, oh, you guys are just biased. It's no. We like seeing them and listening to them and whatnot, but outside of, say, sequelitis, we usually don't take anything the Game Grumps say seriously on the level of whether or not games are good. And I shouldn't have to say this. Reviewers should be good at games because you should be playing it more. Or why are we listening to you if you're not good at it? It's
your job.
It's your job. It's just so... It's dumb. It's just dumb, and it's stupid dumb.
I don't even understand.
I got nothing else. I'm in a haze of just like bewilderment at this whole thing. So I apologize for the completely irreverent rambling from me. But how do you even cope with this stuff where like all the gaming's media are saying we're not gamers, you're gamers? And one comment from that rock paper shotgun. Wait, no, it was Paste actually from the Paste article said, oh well. Rather than saying get good, these people should have contemplated like how they can move the medium forward as an art form so that people in the outside world can respect you instead of having a little exclusivity club. And I'm like, yeah, because that's totally what a troll on the internet thinks about. They totally think about the intrinsic value of the entire fucking medium of video games rather than mocking somebody who's shit at Doom. Like, truly. You know, like, everybody who says, this movie sucks, they totally were thinking, man, I wonder what Francis Ford Coppola would think about the advancement of our medium in this modern-day society. They're like, nah, the movie didn't have no explosions, and it's...
and what the fuck is this about respect?
Like, no, that's what I mean. The implication that they're saying is that gamers have absolutely no respect outside of it. They're saying that everyone in, like who is not a gamer apparently thinks that we're all, like, racist, sexist man-children, when the only people who've ever said that are games media because of the whole fucking Gamergate thing. Like, only games journalists have accused us of this.
But, like, dude, I don't give a shit if you respect that I'm a gamer. Like, honestly, in real life, it does not matter. Like, if somebody came up to me and go, like, I don't fucking like you or respect what your opinion because you're a gamer, I'm like, who the fuck are you and why are you talking to me?
And it's like the only thing outside of, like, our circle, in this case being gamers and games media, that have said anything negative about gaming are just, like, mainstream news where they're just like, oh, well, games make people violent, ban them or whatever. And that's it. And we pretty much, like, faced that already. Yeah. Like, me and Perry were discussing this before. How long has it been since any major figure or news corporation or like media site has said anything in regards to games being violent? It's been a while.
Yeah, there was a story that talked about how this mom thought her daughter sold her soul to the devil because she was playing Dark Souls.
I remember hearing that because a kid had Sans from Undertale on her phone.
And that was something that I just laughed so hard. I didn't even think that was like belittling like gaming or anything. That was just fucking hilarious.
But even then, that doesn't sound like. I mean, I'm talking stuff. When I was talking with Lenny about this, it was something about like whenever Fox News or CNN talks about something like this, it's usually a big stint.
Right.
But as far as I can tell, no one's been saying shit. And I'm just kind of like, have we finally gotten over the hurdle where people stop giving a fuck about violence in video games? And now it's just been replaced by all this social justice warrior shit.
Yeah, but
one evil for another, so it's just another ring of fire to jump through.
Well, I mean, and it also helps that there's been studies that shown that playing games do not lead to violence, and they do not lead to you being sexist and things like that. But like people like nah, man, fuck, what is it? You're bringing facts to me? Facts don't matter. You're sexist and violent.
Don't get me started on that.
Like, I'll say this. This is a very small consolation, but at the very least, when you have people on like bloggers and Tumblrs and shit, when you have that as opposed to news people saying shit about us, at least we can host responses to them that they can directly respond to. Because if I see a news anchor saying oh, should little Timmy be playing Grand Theft Auto 4? Probably not. Check back in at 9. It's I can't just point to the screen and say, no, Tom Hiddleston, anchor at large at Fox 9 Corp. You are not right, I disagree. Because it's he's on a fucking TV screen, he can't hear me. But with a blog, it's you can make comments, you can make open letters and videos and stuff that they can see and can be posted to them. You have a much more open forum to discuss it with. I mean, granted, they'll probably block you or just disown you or whatever else that they do, but there's more room to criticize these people, even though they are less open to criticism, which means we are pretty much exactly where we were before.
Yeah,
Shit.
pretty much. Yeah. Wouldn't that be some shit though? If you just like yell at the TV and you're like, "Hold on, some young youth is chiming in with his opinion."
I'd love that shit.
I would pay to see a channel made solely for that.
Rambo, look out! He's got a gun.
Hey, I heard he got a gun.
That's the channel name, Ramble. Copyrighted.
Oh god. Well, yeah,
Fox News, pay me money.
let's go. Let's just go ahead and move on. There's some funnier things I want to get to.
Yeah.
Pizza.
We can get to pizza later.
Okay.
But Overwatch, guys, it's the hot new phenomenon that all the kids are into.
Yeah.
So now because
Including some of us.
exactly now because it's the hot new phenomenon kids are getting into, you can no longer view porn of it because Blizzard is aggressively shutting down Overwatch porn.
Now, there's a good reason for this.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so you guys know a Source filmmaker, right?
Of course.
Did you know that there is also pornographic material of video game characters being made in said Source filmmaker?
Yes. The
Yeah.
internet won't stop posting about it.
Exactly. So, whenever there's an attractive model of whatever female or male character, depending on your orientation, or tree, depending on your orientation, they typically put that model in the Source filmmaker, and they go to town with it. And that's how you get what we got today in Overwatch. I think the reason why they're shutting it down is because they're using the models in-game to make their pornographic material.
And there's like a staggering amount of it. Like, it's like a flood of just Overwatch porn, like, everywhere.
From what I understand, most of it is just Tracer and Widowmaker.
Which is a tragedy, because there's at least 2 more attractive females in that game. But, yeah, I can see why Blizzard would actually take action on this. You know, it is kind of getting out of hand, and they do use the in-game character models and all that stuff. But,
Yeah.
But, Lenny, what do you think?
On one hand, I might get it under the idea of like, oh my gosh, like children might see that. But on the other hand, like, it's technically, and Mike, this might be a stretch. It's technically a person's artistic expression of their like fandom of the game because they're taking things like elements from the game and doing it in their own way. You know, it's fan art. I mean, it has more explicit stuff in it than most fan art does, but it's like, I don't know, to give an example, there's a lot of Dark Souls 3, fan art, but I don't see, From Software going and banning all of that stuff. It's just, it's a matter of perspective. I just think that Blizzard is being a little bit too, straightforward with this. It just seems like they're overstepping their bounds with some of this stuff. Because, like, they did... I'm still kind of pissed at them for the Nostalrius thing. And then you have this stuff where it's like, oh, these guys are doing a thing that has no impeding thing on. Because, like, unless they actually release an Overwatch porno, they're not impeding on their market. If anything, if people watch it, they might be interested in the characters that they saw in this porn and be like, gee, I should buy this game and this thing I just wanked to. It's an ass-backwards way of selling a game, but honestly, it can happen. And it's just, unless they're posting it in, like, public places where, like, people who don't want to see it might see it, you know, like, it's like, I don't know, post it on their Facebook page or something, and it's not like an 18-plus Facebook page or, like, a non-18-plus place on, like, fucking DeviantArt or Tumblr or whatever. It's like, that's it. The only people these are affecting are people who look for it. Because if I look up Overwatch, the first thing I see is Blizzard's site, not porn.com.net/tracer sex. It's
To be fair, there is no implication that you're going to find tracer sex on porn.com.
Yes, just to be clear, I have not been paid by porn.com.net, and
Exactly. And No,
I'm very transparent about who I do sponsorships with.
exactly. And Lenny was not looking for Overwatch porn. It just came out of left field.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't. I don't even own the game, and I definitely didn't go looking for porn to see if the game was good.
Wow. Wow.
Point being, it's still as as lewd or whatever you want to say about it as it may be. As inappropriate as Blizzard might think it might be, it's still technically a form of artistic expression, and the fact they have any control in regards to like taking it down is kind of a gross use of power, honestly. Especially because like unless they're selling it, they can't do that. Like they can't actually like do that if they're just making their things and just putting out to people. Because it's like you can't do that. It's completely different context. It's completely different thing. I don't know. That's just my thought on that. Jokes aside, it seems like Blizzard is becoming very, totalitarian or whatever the fuck the word is, where it's like anything that we didn't do that relates to us must be taken down. Did you make a fan art? Take it down. Do you have a private server? Take it down. Do you have a negative opinion? Well, I mean, we can't really stop that. But if we could, we'd take it down.
So they're basically Nintendo.
Yeah. The only difference is that they actually let people keep their Let's Plays up on YouTube, which is actually just them being smart. Because it's like, people giving free advertising for our game on the largest video site on the entire internet? Maybe we shouldn't stop that from happening.
I mean, there's a reason why they gave out closed beta codes to popular YouTubers for Overwatch.
Yeah. I mean, who'd have thunk that happened?
Absurd.
Barry, what do you think?
Okay. This is a pretty simple thing that Blizzard kind of needs to get their head out of their ass for. Rule 34 of the internet. If it exists, there's porn of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's also another effect they're forgetting. It's called the Streisand effect. Just because you try and make something gone is not going to stop it completely. You can try to get rid of all the Overwatch porn there is. That's not going to stop anyone from making it. You can try, and that's not even saying like, oh, they could just make it in their own time. There's nothing they could do about that. Nothing they could do about that and say if it was in private. And I'm just kind of saying, like, Lenny, you pretty much took almost every major point that I wanted to bring up, which I'm honestly a little impressed and surprised. Because I'm just like, I don't know. Normally, I feel like I'm the one who's like the most lenient on the whole sex and sexuality content type stuff.
Well,
but at this point, I'm just kind of like, you know what? He's pretty much said everything I almost wanted to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only against, like, what is it? Like, I'm only against improper use of fan service. Because, like, I'm not against that for porn, because it's like, when I watch Soul Eater, and they're like, oh no, I fell on the boobs, it's like, ugh, this hurts. Because the show is not being sold on the concept of falling on the boobs. But if you watch porn...
Kagura for that.
Yeah. If you watch a porn, though, or pornographic material, or explicit fan art or whatever, that's what its purpose is for. It's like, oh, look at these naked people who look good. That's it. And it's like, oh, look, this thing which said there would be naked people and sex had naked people and sex. Congratulations. Gold medal. Get out of my office. Like, that's it. So when, like, shows that aren't marketed for that specifically just insert it to keep, you know, like, horny teenagers watching, like, oh, this show's pretty boring, but I almost saw a titty. I better watch the rest of the season. It's like...
So it's pretty much the Beavis and Butthead approach.
Yeah, it's like, just make sure Beavis and Butthead watch, because they'll use the money to buy shit. And it's like, just that. That's why I'm okay defending porn and pornographic or explicit fan art, because that's its sole purpose. And saying you shouldn't be allowed to do your sole purpose when it's not explicitly, like, illegal or not moral is the dumbest shit ever.
I don't know about you, Lenny, But the reason I go on Pornhub.com is because they have the entire season 1 of Behind the Music. I don't go there for gross sex and anything.
That sounds like something I'd hear on Fox News.
No, but literally, there was actually something that happened that was kind of close to that. There was somebody leaking Fallout 4 stuff on Pornhub.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
So
It's a
people
good hiding spot.
actually went to Pornhub to go look at Fallout 4 stuff. It's hilarious. But Jalen, what do you think?
Well, everyone's free to be aroused by whatever they want to be aroused by, as long as they're not killing people or burning down people's homes. So,
I'm sending death threats.
that too, though I don't think anyone's ever sent death threats over porn, but I could be mistaken.
Oh, there probably has been a few.
Probably. I can understand, like, Blizzard being upset about their models being used in Source Filmmaker for the purpose of making erotica. But, you know, people can't buy it. They aren't selling it. So I guess that's just the greatest gray area in the universe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
more
mean-
or less.
I understand why they're upset, but there's a difference between being upset and having the authority to remove it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've had, like, granted, this is a bad example because I technically can remove it, but I've had several comments on my videos saying, you know, the autism is strong with this one. And what I could do is I can just take it in stride, because it's like there's always going to be negative comments on the internet, or I could be a dick and just take out any comment I don't like. And to this day, these comments asserting that I have some sort of mental disability or that my videos suck are still on all my videos, because I don't want to silence people who disagree with me just on the basis that they disagree with me.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
Well, yeah, you guys ready to move on then?
Yeah, I'm also going to say probably the reason why it's probably not just the idea that Blizzard's annoyed with the fact that that their characters are put into porn. They're probably just annoyed the fact their characters are put in a shitty engine now.
Oh god. Well, moving on. Last story of the night, guys. Perry, take it away.
Okay, this is the Cap one, right?
Yes.
Well, okay, so ever since Civil War came out, Marvel's been in the news a lot. And most of it's been pretty good. In this case, however, in the last couple days, not so much. Because there's been two incidences, one right after the other, it feels like. And the first one is not so weird. Well, compared to the next one. Or at least hilarious. But the first story is that apparently, according to the Washington Post, there's some fans who want to have Captain America get a boyfriend.
Oh, those wily people.
And I'm just kind of on the mentality of, guys, question. Have you actually read a Captain America comic?
That's not the point.
You know who he's been hitting, he had a relationship with.
That's not the point.
Yeah, I know. It's not. I know that's what is not the point. It's just funny. To me, it's just like, are you trying to just make every single character gay, bisexual, or lesbian, or what the fuck ever, to the point where it's like there's no straight people in media anymore? Because if it is, just admit it.
Oh man. Yeah. Jalen, what do you think?
Like many things on the internet, this is one of the silliest ideas I've heard. A lot of them come from the internet. It's amazing. I can only say this. It's movie cap, right? Movie cap, not comic book
Yes,
cap.
it's movie Captain America. Chris Evans.
Okay, so what are they expecting the next movie? If they magically hear these words, it doesn't work out with whatever her name is, Sharon.
Yeah,
Sharon,
sure.
right? Yeah, Sharon Carter, and then he's talking to Falcon, and he's like, "Yeah, man, it just didn't work out." Hey, would you want to go get something to eat later?
Let's go grab a pop.
I'm seeing, like, Cap Iron Man ships. I'm seeing Cap Falcon ships. I'm seeing Cap Bucky ships. I'm seeing it all over the fucking place.
Oh,
I can see the end of Black Panther being Cap there and just kind of rubbing the glass that Bucky's behind.
Or hell,
slowly.
Cap Black Panther ships.
Oh,
No, it's the first black Marvel film. It's also the first gay Black Marvel film.
oh dear God.
It's also interracial.
Oh my God. Well, Lenny, what do you think?
And I probably just pissed off every single Black Panther fan in existence.
I think that people are misunderstanding a lot of concepts in regards to like social equality or social justice. And that's why they're saying that they want to take this person who's straight and grew up in like the 30s and 40s, mind you, in which that was a very strictly better not be gay or say you're a communist and throw you in jail kind of era.
Yeah.
And then like, and mind that's a joke exaggeration. I'm pretty sure communism wasn't a thing back then, but I might be wrong.
It wasn't until the end of World War II.
Yeah, so that was just a joke. I know it wasn't around the time, but it still was the idea of like, oh, are you anti-American? Are you unpatriotic? Well, then we'll throw you in jail. Like, literally in the 40s, it was considered a mental disorder to be gay or unpatriotic.
It was pretty much, but then this is also considering the time frame. It was also a mental disorder if you were a woman.
Yeah, you could actually, if your wife was mad at you, you could send her to the mental institution for like a week for no justification of her own, just purely on your word for like hot fit or women fever.
Yeah, and
Women fever.
Bitch for them.
Yeah, so it was basically that. It was really, really dumb. But more to the point, there's no way that, at least as far as we can tell, that Steve would ever admit to being gay if he even was. And I'm pretty sure that he isn't, considering he's had romantic relationships with 2 women in the movie universe so far. A minimum of 2, which in this case is Peggy Carter and her niece.
Yeah.
Or great niece, or whatever. And then we have potentially Black Widow, because I know they had some flirty moments and other stuff during, like, Winter Soldier. But more to the point, we have, for all intents and purposes, no real evidence that he is gay, and just turning him gay would completely contradict everything that we have seen of him up to this point.
Uh-huh.
It's like, why? Why not just introduce a new character who happens to be gay? Because the idea that, as far as I remember, that they're going for is saying, like, oh, we want, like, diversity in these things. Because they're saying, oh, it's just a bunch of straight guys. And that's not always what happens. And it's like, okay, well, if we're talking mathematically, it is, the most common thing to happen, but whatever. It's just, adding diversity for the sake of diversity is not a great tactic when you're changing, like, previously established characters. Like, why would a guy raised in the 40s be gay? Like, I understand he's really close with Bucky, and he's, pretty good friends with Falcon, but, like, that's all you got. And just forcing people to make these changes to fit your desires is stupid, because it's like, I don't know. What if, you guys know that Samurai Jack is voiced by Phil Lamar, a black guy, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It wouldn't make sense for me to say, oh, well, in the next, movie or film or whatever, Samurai Jack should be a black guy or whatever, because that's what his voice actor is. And, and it's racist of them to just make him not black or whatever. It's like, that's not who Samurai Jack is. He's a samurai from Japan. It would be so much work just to completely change him into another like ethnicity or like anything else, that it would just be like, what? Why? that I don't know. That's all I really got on it. So
Yeah. You guys pretty much said everything I wanted to say, so
Yeah.
moving on.
Yeah,
All right.
that's just part one of this story.
Part 2. Oddly enough, this isn't the weirdest thing of Captain America news we had this was it week?
Yeah, this week.
It was last week.
All right. So a new Captain America series is out.
Yeah, the Captain America Steve Rogers comic just dropped, and this is Marvel's second Captain America book that's going on. The second one, or the first one, being Captain America Sam Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know, that's Falcon in the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
So, basically, there is a certain panel in the book that basically the entire internet lost its collective shit. It's when, near the end of the issue, where Steve basically gets his powers back, and he at one point lost his super soldier serum, de-aged, or re-aged to 90 years old, got it back, and basically started becoming Captain America again. But now, he basically went on a mission, threw one of his teammates out the window of a plane, and basically walked into a guy and said, "Hail Hydra."
Mm-hmm.
And so this implies, according to everyone who was weighing in on this, that Captain America has been a Hydra agent this entire time. Over his entire career, has been a secret Hydra agent the entire way through. And you could probably guess why everyone would be like losing their minds over this.
Because it makes sense that there were so many signs.
Actually, Adolfo, it's funny you mentioned that because there were some signs in some previous storylines I've been researching that kind of pointed to this being a total crock of shit.
Right.
But before I explain and thoroughly break down why this whole non-twist is a thing, let me hear your guys' thoughts on this.
I remember that time where I was super patriotic, and I just stopped. I just hit my head on a coffee table. I was like, "Oh God, that's right. I'm a Nazi. What is this?"
You're not a city Nazi. You're a super Nazi.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes, of course. Like Hail Hitler and all that stuff. Oh. My life has been a lie.
Hail Hitler and all that stuff.
Exactly. It's stupid, people. This is just stupid.
Stupid concept, but the execution is what will really sell it. I haven't read the story yet, but I remember back a few years ago when Secret Invasion was a thing. It was like, remember all these characters in these last few storylines? Well, guess what? They were secretly Skrulls. But it made more sense because the Skrulls can imitate people and superpowers.
It's about as much of a cop-out decision of someone not dying as it is a Doom bot.
Mm-hmm. Squirrel Girl gets all her kills retconned.
Except when it's Thanos.
Oh my God. But yeah. Lenny, what do you think of this?
I think that it's interesting. The problem with interesting is that interesting things don't always make sense. And being a Hydra agent is interesting because it's like, oh, the most patriotic guy ever was actually not doing things for best interest. Oh my God. And that's really cool. What's not cool is having it come out of nowhere with many things that would basically point to it being bullshit. Unless there's some God tier level conspiracy that was put in place and apparently nobody ever knew about it for the entirety of the line of the comics, and he just decided now that it would be okay to finally reveal it or do stuff, then it's it could be, like I said, interesting, but the thing that gets me is I don't know how they explain it away. Because if they said something along the lines of oh, he's a sleeper agent and he's been doing his own shit the whole time, but then as soon as someone says the word a Nazi sandwich or something, then all of a sudden his mind is oh yeah! If they did that, then that might make more sense, as in, so he was acting on behalf of America or whoever for the good guys the whole time, but now he's a bad guy because they did some retroactive shit, I'd be cool with that. But as far as I can tell, based on what everyone's saying, that's not the case. It's like, no, he's just really good at pretending.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing. I forgot I was a Nazi. Well, teammate, out you go. Oh, God.
And it's like, you can't really get rid of a staple character like Captain America, so I'm just wondering, what are they going to do? Like, if he's a bad guy now, are they going to kill him? Or are they going to convert him back to the good guy side? Or is he just going to be a recurring villain for, like, the rest of the comic line and, like, forever?
Yeah.
Or...
Is Falcon going to win him over with a double Whopper with bacon? Who knows? Who knows? But, yeah, I think they're just doing this to set up Captain America versus the Falcon. This is pretty much... You know, it just didn't do it that well.
He needs a Patriot Burger with some freedom fries.
Exactly. You can get those at Burger King now for the low price of $10.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored, of course. We
Yeah.
just love America.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you guys want me to show you how this is a load of shit?
Yeah, sure. Jokes aside,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Spoiler alert for the audience.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will admit I have not read these actual issues. I've just done a fuck ton of research in order to figure out this is actually a thing. Well, it turns out it's not a thing. It's totally obvious what happened. So here's what I'm gonna have to set up a couple of things first off. Now keep in mind, we all know that comics can get weird as shit.
It's true.
That's pretty much right, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. So I'm going to have to set up a couple of things before I get involved with this. Now, there's one video I'm getting most of this evidence from, and that's from a YouTube channel I recently got acquainted with called Professor Thorgy, which, if you haven't watched his videos, they're actually pretty enjoyable. I recommend going and checking that out. He did pretty much what I'm going to basically be regurgitating, so I'm using him as a source. So, basically, in the previous Marvel comics, leading up to this point, there was an event called Standoff, or Avengers Standoff, and Steve Rogers basically didn't have his powers at this point, and he was de-aged to a 90-year-old man, which is what he would have been in around this time frame, if he basically never got the Super Soldier Serum and never, and aged properly. So, at this point, he's not exactly the best mental state, and the Red Skull is still kicking around somewhere. Except there's a kick. You see, Professor X of the X-Men has died. He's no longer alive. And the Red Skull has stolen his brain and implanted it with his own. So now the Red Skull is psychic. And he's not only psychic, he's the most powerful psychic on the planet. So, during the events of Standoff, basically Steve Rogers, or Captain America at this point, basically comes across a group of people trapped in a building, and he's trying to get them to cross to safety. And he comes across this preacher guy who basically says, hey, I know you need some help. Let me go and give you a hand. And Steve Rogers can't basically defend himself. He's a 90-year-old man. He's kind of like, if I so much as fall and trip, I'm going to bust my hip straight open.
Right.
So he's basically being escorted by... The priest is escorting him through the site, or the standoff site, and basically coming across a whole bunch of villains and heroes where the roles are basically reversed. So, Steve Rogers gets to a point where he's basically escorted out, and the preacher gets caught in a blast. And he is assumed dead, but Steve Rogers manages to escape with the rest of the group of people, and they're all hunky-dory and safe. However, when the smoke clears, it turns out the preacher was actually Red Skull. So, you might be wondering, why the fuck would Red Skull spend so much time trying to save Captain America's life? Because that makes no sense. Except, at the end of that issue, whenever that whole series wrapped up, Red Skull was asked the question by people who were working with him is, did you get everything you need? He says, yes, I pretty much laid the foundation for everything that needs to happen. But the thing is, he didn't do anything. He really didn't do all that much while he was there. Unless it was mentally implant false memories into Steve Rogers to make him think that he was a Hydra agent. Not only that, but it was soon after when this Steve Rogers issue came out that there was flashback segments involving him, his parents, and his dad being abusive. Conveniently enough, there's a woman that appears out of nowhere who we've never heard of or never seen or mentioned in any of the Captain America issues anywhere up to this point, not even like back in World War II days, comes out of nowhere, decked out in all red, saves his life and his mom's, and basically convinces them to join Hydra as a means of finding an outlet for their lives and trying to do something better with themselves. So, conveniently enough, this comes out of nowhere as soon as this issue also reveals the fact that, oh wait, Captain America suddenly works for Hydra now. Am I the only one who's starting to see that this is a load of crap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, people, I'm kind of wondering, like, half the people who are getting upset at this, it's like, have you even read or researched any of these issues or lead up to or build up to this point?
No.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm guessing. And so, I'm pretty sure it's like, guys, there's no way that Marvel is stupid enough to basically ruin one of their flagship characters, no pun intended, considering the fact that he had just had his own movie that's pretty much the highest grossing movie of the year so far, and say, oh, well, we're going to turn him into a Nazi, or a super Nazi. Yeah, because that would be the smartest business decision to do. It's like, no, we have two Captain Americas. We have one that's black and one that's white. Now we just need to make a Latino one. But no, in all seriousness, it just amazes me how much people don't do research and just lose their shit over the funniest things. And even people that I know in my daily life, like my uncle posted something about how he's so disappointed that Captain America has now been turned into a Nazi, and how he is basically a disrespect to his original creators, who, ironically enough, were Jewish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that just makes it even this just makes it even fucking hilarious. Because it's like, hey guys, we know with Captain America, let's take the pinnacle of the Sentinel of Liberty and make him a Nazi. Just it's like, guys, Marvel is not this stupid. I mean, isn't it a little bit weird that they just happened to release, ironically, the most controversial thing about Steve Rogers in his entire history on the same day that DC basically does basically says, hey, we're doing a giant clearing of house and fixing all the crap that we got with the New 52. And yet, everyone's still talking about Captain America being a Nazi.
It's because Captain America was in a popular movie.
Yeah, I know!
Yep.
And that's what's hilarious about this. It just gets funnier and funnier by the minute, just because it's like, you guys think about this. 10 years ago, if this were to drop, no one would have given a shit.
I was just about to say that.
No one would have given a fuck about this. But now, all of a sudden, now that Captain America is a big thing, everyone's like, no, Captain America's a Nazi! This is not right! Yeah! But yeah, this is just like, guys, here's another thing people need to realize. Comics, even in my short time frame of learning and researching them, rarely, if anything, is permanent.
Yeah, they don't deviate from the norm too much.
No, comics are weird. Okay, one, comics are weird as shit. Comics are, if anything, non-permanent. And three, comics are always susceptible to retcons, reboots, and changes. So, Captain America being a Nazi, one, it's not only not a twist, it's not going to last that long.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, probably
I
not.
imagine, if anything, it's only going to last maybe till like 12 issues. It's going to wrap up the whole thing, maybe 24 at max. So if we're going to talk in TV terms, it's probably going to only last about one season of Game of Thrones. That's roughly it. and by the time it's over, we'll have everything back to normal. Captain America will still be all hunky-dory and American again, and everything will be fine. So, again, to quote Shaun of the Dead, can we just calm the fuck down?
Nah, man, this goes against the natural order. Next thing I wake up in the morning, I'm gonna pour my bowl of Frosted Flakes and it's gonna end up being Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yeah. How dare they do a different thing? They didn't do the same thing that I've already read a million times over.
To this character I started to care about like 2 years ago?
Yeah, how dare you not do the same thing over and over again right when I get into it? Like, I know we're clamoring for new things and for diversity, but how dare you add diversity when we asked for it? Ugh, guys, you just don't get it.
God.
If you can take anything away from this segment, just remember, if you have sudden Nazi turning amnesia, you can fix yourself with the Patriot Burger from Burger King.
Yeah.
Oh, you.
And yeah, things are subject to change. That's why it's fiction, and that's why it's media. You know, and a comic book media, like Perry says, changes all the time.
And like, he's right. It does change all the time, but it's also very static because nobody ever dies, and if they do, they come back. It's like, oh no, these people are dead. Reboot time, or resurrection time, or hey, alternate universe, or Flashpoint, Infinite Crisis, what the fuck ever. Just do the thing that makes it so these people
that just came out.
Yeah, like just do the thing that can't keep them dead. Because you never kill Superman because he makes you money. You never kill Spider-Man because it makes you money. Like, and that's pretty much it. And people are so ingrained in this that there's very little room for genuinely new characters. Like, they have to be, like, successors to old characters. Because you can't just have Gwen Stacy be, like, a new hero that happens to have spider powers. No, she has to be Spider-Gwen. Like, a successor to Spider-Man. And you can't have that one chick who's
universe version of Spider-Man.
Yeah, like, you can't have, like, that chick who took over Thor's position. You can't have her be another Norse goddess or someone else with lightning powers. No, she has to be a successor to Thor. Like, a new Thor. Because people are so, as far as I can tell, against new characters because they just want to see the old thing. It's like, why would I watch, like, Waterman when I can watch Aquaman? And he's better, apparently, because he's been around forever. And it's like, that. It's just, like, people are just so ingrained with whatever that they want, it's hard to find new ways to do things. Because it's like, you can't have new characters, and you can't have anything that goes against what the characters have been doing for, like, 60 years. Because then everyone just starts crying and posting about it on their blogs. Because that matters.
Which, to jump in a little quick, Lenny, I actually kind of like the fact there are legacy characters to kind of carry on the mantle.
Well, yeah, carrying a torch is great, but I feel like people want that as opposed to any new characters, like, ever.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
But anything else before we move on?
No, I think I'm pretty much good.
Jalen,
Yeah.
Lenny?
I'm good.
I can't think of anything that fits with the meme. I'm okay. Never mind.
We good?
We're good.
I think we're good.
All right. It's it. It's been a crazy episode. There's been so much weird shit that's happened this past 2 weeks. It's been crazy, man. But
It's our special What the Fuck edition episode.
exactly. But let's go ahead and get to like what we've been doing or like future projects. Lenny, what have you been doing, and like do you have any projects in the works?
Yeah, I am doing the final recording for that long fabled video as we speak right now.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I'm currently recording a little bit of a Call of Cthulhu right now.
Right.
As part of like the horror stuff that's going on. But yeah, so that's mostly done. It's just mainly editing from this point forward. Should be done within the week.
Sweet.
Other than that, I've got a few other things in the works. I don't know if I should announce it yet, but fuck it, I'll just do it anyways. I'm planning to do a video about various styles of racing games.
Oh, that sounds actually pretty
That sounds
interesting.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of different stuff about that I'm trying to record. I'm horrible at racing games, but it's like it'd be fun just to kind of stray away from doing all the spooky things all the time. So
Yeah. Yeah, I look forward to seeing that. And if you guys actually did like Lenny's Silent Hill 2 videos that he has on the channel, go check out his channel. And he has a lot of good movie stuff, and he has pretty good plans for future videos. So, you know, just go check him out, but give him a like. Oh, and shout outs to Ragnarox for actually watching our Silent Hill 2 videos and actually commenting and subscribing. You are a bro.
yeah, man, thank you. I really appreciate you commenting on my video, man. Your shit's so awesome. Great.
Yeah. But Perry, anything you got going on?
Outside of my own general work, not so much. I will admit I did notice something really weird with my channel is that even though I haven't posted anything for months, I just bumped over 800 subs.
Not
Oh,
bad.
congratulations.
Yeah, not bad, dude.
I'm just kind of like, how are people still subbing to my channel even though I haven't posted shit in months?
Well, if your stuff's good, your stuff's good, you know, there's people who post even less and they have thousands of subscribers.
True. I just find it hilarious that most of mine are still stuck around even when I haven't done a video to fully explain what the fuck have I been doing.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't cost anything to stay subscribed, you know. It's not like you're paying a monthly fee or anything.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
But still, I just feel grateful for the fact they are sticking around and the fact that it's gone up despite the fact that I haven't done anything yet, really anything in the last several months.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. I know, once I actually do get a break, I do plan on making a video to address the whole issue and say, look, I know I need to give you an overdue apology for how absent I've been and why I've been so absent. So I do plan on doing something like that within the next several weeks, mostly probably because I probably have a break coming up within the next 3 or 4 weeks. What I'm going to be doing during then, aside from that one video, I have honestly no idea. So that's up for debate. Aside from that, I can't really think of much else project-wise outside of the game that I'm working on with my class and trying to get that settled. So that's pretty much it on my end.
So, I have an idea for a video that would actually integrate your current work. It's just an idea, just throwing it out there. Why don't you record some of the stuff you have on a game you're working on and just give commentary about it, your ideas and stuff like that, and see what people think.
In what way exactly? I'm not sure I'm quite getting the format of how this would work.
Well, you know, kind of demo it, give kind of development commentary, just give your general ideas and just show what you have, you know, and kind of give an explanation of where you want to take it.
Okay, I guess I could do that. Right now I'm currently in the pre-production stages with my team,
Right.
and we're still trying to get the concept down fine. So once we get that going and actually start building all of our assets and putting stuff into it and having a prototype going, then maybe I could probably do something like that.
All right.
So, I mean, I like the idea. It would at least give me something. It would give me something interesting to do and something interesting to record and actually post and say, hey, this is completely different than what he's done before, but this is why, this is what exactly he's been working on for so long.
Right.
So you do have a good idea. I do like it.
All right. Well, yeah, Dalen, any plans?
Just no, not at the moment. I've been playing Overwatch.
The killer of all times.
Hey, it's fun.
Yeah, I still need to play it, and if me, Jalen, and Ricky all get into it, and if Lenny and Perry get into it, with all content might cease on this channel. Nah, I don't know. We might like form a team and go kick ass or something. That actually sounds like
at least play a couple of matches.
yeah. That sounds like a fun idea. Actually, let's make it like a podcast team on Overwatch.
We'll call it the podcast Punishers.
We'll work on the name.
Yeah, well, considering the fact that we still call this just the podcast, it would still be a little bit more creative name.
Exactly.
We completely forgot the name this, didn't we?
Yep. Oh well.
No, well.
We'll figure out a name for this eventually.
Naming is hard, people.
We could just call it the Frame Zero Podcast.
Fine, that works. You guys down with that?
What we named the Skype call after. We're the podcast pal.
The podcast.
Podcast Pals.
Yeah, why the fuck not?
Yeah, but thank you guys so much for listening to us talk for 2.5 hours. So, like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. We will see you guys in the next podcast episode, where we'll surely have something crazy to talk about because the internet never fails to disappoint us. So, thanks you for listening, and bye.
Try and stay not so crazy, internet.
Goodbye.
Next time we'll have more things for you to be confused about.